What's going on with the truckers? Welcome to the Asian Mai Show. So the whole thing about this channel is just to level you up, to get you where you want to go in trucking, either to be a company driver, owner operator, own a fleet, be a millionaire in trucking, whatever it is, you can get all your foundation information right here. So we're going to talk about Shaffer trucking and give you all the goods and the bads. Now, the first thing you're going to do if you're thinking about going to school is, do you pay for your own school or do you have the trucking company pay for your school? Well, the cool thing about Shaffer trucking is they actually have on their website accredited trucking schools that if you go to and you got to pay for it for yourself, you start out doing that reefer, and guess what? You're going to start out making a little bit more money. Here are some pay stubs. Not one, not two, not three, but a lot of pay stubs. Look through them, see which ones you like, don't like, and to be honest, the honest truth, you're going to be making about $3,500 to $4,000 net a month. And if you're not happy with that, then you got to move along. This is what it really is. Life is not easy. It's not easy to turn a coin. So I just want to give you a little bit more information and show you this, and then you can watch this in-depth interview and see if this carrier is right for you. We are not sponsored. I'm not sponsored. I don't care where you go. I just hope you get your bag up. Appreciate y'all. So you can see my guy grossed $1,696 on this one. He grossed $1,424 on this one. He grossed $1,529.66 on that one. He grossed $1,282 on that one. He grossed $1,885.90 on this one. He grossed $687 on this one. Now remember, people, look at these grosses, look at what he's making, look at the miles that he's running. Remember, Crete carrier pays 54 cents to 60 cents per mile depending on what you're doing, what niche, what industry within their industry that they're doing, and from there they actually give you per diems and all that good stuff too. So just take a quick look at this, but just know the truth that, look, you know, you're gonna make anywhere between $3,500 to $4,000 net a month, and that's what Wandering Nomad want you to know. And if that money works for you, that's good. If it doesn't, that's cool, but that's what it is. So with them, you'll need at least a year experience. But you're like, Asian Mai, I thought you said you gotta just go to CDL school. Yeah, you got to go to one of their accredited trucking schools, and then they could get you in. So you could talk to their recruiters or whatever. I don't care what you do, but that could be a loophole for you. But you minimum age of 22 years old, and so that's what you need. And definitely can't have any DUIs. Safety record got to be clean, all that good stuff, because they're really big on safety over there. As you can see from Wandering Nomad's pay stubs, that he was making about 54 cents, but their driver pay starts at 54 cents to 60 cents CPM depending on the fleet and your experience, okay? And they're saying they're one of the biggest, highest paid for drivers average, so over 83,100 per year. Well, from the interview, you'll hear Aaron say that you should be able to make about 60 to 65,000 gross easy. Besides that, I don't have any clue. Benefits are always important, but as Wandering Nomad said, they kind of suck. So you can read through this and see. As you can see, driver referral bonus. So if you want to be a recruiter, recruit all these damn people, you can make $1,000 for every hire. That can be your hustle. But for the most part, it's just one of those things where Aaron said that he's going to look to get health benefits from his wife's job because he doesn't feel like they have the best benefits. So here's going to be a snippet highlight of all the important factors of the interview. I have links below of the full interview. Hopefully you guys get what you want from this, and good luck on your journey in trucking.
What's up, mother truckers? You are now watching the Asian Mai Show live.
What's going on, mother truckers? Welcome to the Asian Mai Show. Hopefully you guys are doing great today. We're hanging out with Wandering Nomad. The biggest thing that we want to do today is we want to give people information about Shaffer, and for people that don't know, all the goods and bads and all those things, because you know, on our channel, man, what I love to do is expose. Everything is exposed, and you know, people get nervous, but I'm not here to expose anyone, man. We're just here to give people the truth. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, let's talk about that a little bit. So, you know, before we get into the side of what's like at Shaffer, and
Sure.
if I'm not wrong about it, Shaffer, and is it Crete? Is it basically Crete carrier owns Shaffer, or no? Is that Shaffer's a subsidiary of it?
Yeah, Crete Carrier is the parent company, and they have 3 companies under them that are basically named. What you're named after is what you do, pretty much. Crete Carrier is the dry box, Shaffer is the refrigerated, and Hunt Transportation is the flatbed.
Oh, I hear you. I hear you. That's what's up. That's what's up. So before we get into that, let's talk real quick about the owner operator route. You said you tried it in the wintertime and it didn't work out. So when you say that, I mean, do you recommend people going owner op because the year's ending, January's coming up? Do you recommend people going owner op in January?
Probably not in January. And this is just my opinion. I could be way off. This was just a brief time that I did it. But the freight kind of tails off after Christmas time until probably about March-ish. And that also depends on what you're pulling. Like I pulled a van.
Right.
So because of freight tailing off, the supply and demand means that freight is going for a lot cheaper because people will pull for $1.10 a mile. So, come like March or April, it usually picks back up. And I had the money saved to start that up. But unfortunately, the whole thing happened and rates didn't go back up. And, I kept blowing money out of my stacks pretty much.
No, I hear you. And it happens, man. And, so for people watching this, thank you. I appreciate you, Aaron. We're homies. It's like, did you feel personally embarrassed about that, or how did you feel about that? Because I don't think it's embarrassing. I think when you go for it and you try to make it happen, it's better to try than like not try at all. You know what I'm saying?
And that's how I felt. Is I had a dream, and my dream was to eventually own a small fleet of trucks, 5 or 10 trucks, whatever. But that gave me the reality check that I needed, that maybe me personally, I might not have what it takes to do that. And I'm fine with that. At least I tried. I gave it my best effort, and, I used it as a learning experience.
Man, you know what? I'll tell you this, though. I mean, I wouldn't say that it's not meant for you, because it's just really one of those things where if the setup is wrong, you know what I'm saying? Like the foundation, if the setup is wrong, it usually, it will fail. It doesn't matter who you are. If the setup is wrong, you just don't put the cards in your favor. You know what I mean, Aaron? And so
yeah,
if I were you, brother, I wouldn't think that way at all. I would stack up my chips again, and I would go back to the game plan. If your goal is to be straight up a owner op, be in a W900, have a fleet of trucks, and that you could do great for this industry, I wouldn't stop, man. I wouldn't let that dream die. You know what I'm saying? It's just that, hey, sometimes the biggest learning curve is the one where we take a big loss. You know what I mean? And so, that's why I would say, brother, so hopefully it doesn't crush your dream forever.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
No, actually, unfortunately, there have been other stuff, and I talked about them in my most recent video, which I actually need to do an update on. But those might actually be what causes, I don't want to say the dream to die, but for me to, if I want to do it, have to go about it differently.
And, I'm not here trying to pry into your personal life. I saw some of the video. Sure. I didn't know if you wanted to, before we even get into the Shaffer stuff, if you want to speak on it a little bit. If you don't, that's fine, brother. I'm not here to be pushy. I just want you to talk about what you want to talk about.
It's out there on YouTube. It's public anyway. So basically, and for your viewers here, it's the reason why the pay stubs look like they kind of jump around and they're not exactly sequential. And that's because since October, I've had to take 6 weeks off of work for health issues. And so basically I went home, just had my regular doctor's appointment, and was diagnosed with sinus tachycardia, an unspecified liver disease. They haven't done any cultures or anything like that to find out what it is. High cholesterol, and there was some moles that the doctor didn't like, and they had grown and that kind of stuff. So they sent me to a dermatologist where I was unfortunately diagnosed with skin cancer. So that took a few weeks to get all that cleared up and get a new physical and get my medications in order and all that stuff. And so then I had to come back and I had to have the surgery to remove the moles. Or I had the surgery to remove the moles at that point. And then the dermatologist didn't like what they saw, and that hence the diagnosis there. So I had to go back to get an excision, have them check the margins and everything like that. But you know, from the end of October to middle of December, I'm sitting there like terrified, not knowing what's going on, not knowing if anything's spreading.
Man. I couldn't imagine, bro.
Thankfully from,
oh my God.
I know, but thankfully from the ones that they pulled, they said that the margins were clear, that it had spread. So as of right now, they've said that I'm cancer free. So
congrats, bro.
But it's still,
sheesh.
Thank you. Yeah, it's still worrisome because you know they're basically just about everybody's got moles. So I've got like some small ones that I'm like, all right, do I need to keep an eye on this? You know, because I don't want to have to deal with that again.
Man, that's intense, man. No, and I couldn't even tell you like what that feels like because I'm just like such a paranoid person, bro. And so
yeah,
you know, I mean, we can even get into life when it's like, dude, your life just goes upside down. And at that point, you're like, I don't care about anything. I just want to be healthy. Forget trucking, forget money, forget everything. I just want to be healthy, right? And it's crazy
that's
how
what it was.
And we take that for granted. So, you know, well, let's jump back into this personal stuff in a little bit and talk about life, man, and just see how you're doing with that. But you know, let's.
Actually, that's a personal or perfect segue into the Shaffer, because one thing I can say about them is, you know, I'm not saying that I can't make more money elsewhere or I can't be home more frequently elsewhere or whatever, but they treated me so well going through all of this that I don't know that I want to go anywhere else. You know, from safety all the way down to dispatch to my home terminal. You know, I don't know that I'd want to go anywhere else because of how well they treated me during all this.
Man, so they're definitely treating you with respect here. And you know, it sucks because you know, sometimes shit has to hit the fan for people to kind of see what people's real character is. And you know, I've done a lot for certain people, and you're thinking to yourself, man, these people got your back. And then you look back and you're like, they don't. So you quit Shaffer thinking that there was going to be something better. You tried to do it.
Yeah.
And then when you tried to do it, it didn't work out. And then you had a health scare, and these people still took you back with open arms, huh?
Oh, they didn't even, like, because I was technically a rehire back in June when I came back, you know, everything started over. So I wasn't eligible for FMLA or short-term disability or anything like that yet, but they were still like, take as much time off as you need. Just let us know when you can come back, you know. Just do what you need to do, take care of yourself, and we'll still be here.
Man, that's what's up, man. And those are the things that are just amazing and great. So it's just, I like to hear that, you know, a personal story from there. So, you know, let's get into the money a little bit.
Looking at my deductions.
Okay, yeah. So let's talk about this a little bit. So, Shaffer,
sure.
I mean, these are your pay stubs, and when we look at this, there's more to this than people just think. I see a lot of health benefits, 401k, advanced plans, things like that. And so maybe we could touch on some of the benefits that they have here if you are here, because there are people here where that's important to them. Maybe they have a few kids, and maybe some aren't as healthy as they should be. And, you know, benefits at that point, health benefits are more important than what they're taking, you know? So what's going on there at Shaffer?
Well, here's where I get to be transparent for you. The health insurance is not great. You have one option. It's not like these companies that have multiple options, and you do have two options. You either take it or leave it. Basically, the health insurance is, I think, for a single person, it's like $1,250. I think for a family, it's $2,500 deductible. And then after that, you have 20% co-insurance to hit your out-of-pocket maximum, which is almost $4,000 or something. So basically, you're stuck on the hook for up to $4,000. Now, I'm looking to actually get onto my wife's because her plan is a lot better now that she's working. So I'm actually probably going to be getting rid of my health insurance through Crete and Shaffer, just because it's honestly not that great. Their vision insurance is actually VSP, which is just a savings plan. Their dental insurance isn't terrible. It does cover a lot. But yeah, the health and vision are just kind of, I don't know if it's worth what I'm paying for it.
So be better, Crete. If you're watching this right now, be better and give people some better health benefits. There's no disrespect to it. We're just speaking the truth, right? And so,
absolutely.
When we look at this, okay, so your amount to your bank is $627 on this check, correct?
Yeah.
And so,
correct.
Is that for the week? I mean, I'm no disrespect to you, but
yeah, that's relatively low. But if you go up to the top, you'll see what the gross was. Now, the way that my wife and I kind of have it worked is that I take advances to do stuff on the road, so that way she has. Basically, I kind of live on advances. That way, when the money that goes into the bank can be for bills, can be for whatever, that, gas for her to go to work. She has to take the toll road to work, so tolls and, basically everything else we have to pay for. So, so that's kind of the way that I've been doing it is for the most part living on advances on the road, so that I make sure she's taken care of.
No, I got you.
She doesn't have to worry about me. She doesn't have to worry about me dipping into the bank, and that kind of stuff.
I do the same thing, brother. To be honest with you, I leverage the company I work with. I don't spend my own money to make money. I leverage the company. Now, my question for you is, when you do that and you leverage your money like that and you take advances, are they charging you for that? Is it a high interest for that?
I don't remember what the cost is. I wish I knew, but it's something negligible that I'm not missing.
Okay, and so I see what you're saying.
But like on there, you can see that the gross was $1,290 on less than 1,900 miles.
Okay.
So, right now, since it's going to be on there, because of my experience and my tenure with Shaffer, I'm sitting at 54 cents a mile base. I
see that.
And that does, like, if you only have a year experience, you'll be lower than that. If you have 5 or more years experience, you'll be higher than that. It just depends on.
So what's the starting
on your experience? And your
so
tenure.
Just say you're fresh out and you're going to Shaffer. Now, tell me if I'm right or wrong on this. You can't really go into Crete Carrier or Shaffer right out of the gate unless you go to one of their accredited schools that they approve of, correct?
That is correct. And they have a list on their website. Basically, the reason for that is they don't want you going to Roadmaster or Sage or Swift Academy or, whoever else, and basically getting your education, working for a week and leaving. So if you go to one of those, they want 6 months. They want 6 months of experience. But if you go to, and they have a whole bunch of them. Like in Pennsylvania, they have Douglas, I think it's called. They do accept a whole lot. There's at least 5 or 6 in each state.
Okay.
That they'll accept from, but unfortunately, there is no reimbursement for that.
Oh, there is no reimbursement for it. Okay.
No. But to answer your question, and they just did a whole bunch of restructuring of the pay scale back in October, I think, October or November. So the numbers might be different, but I want to say it's something like 47 cents or 46 cents, something like that is the starting pay if you come straight from school. If you have 3 years experience like I did when I came, it's 53 cents a mile, and I think it's 55 or 56 if you have 5 or more years experience.
Now,
and that's the starting.
So that's not bad for this. I mean, for starting. I mean, would you? Now, what company did you actually start with? What was the company you started with in the beginning?
I'm ready for the comment section to blow up, but I spent the majority of my first 2 years with Swift.
Come on, people don't hate on Swift that much, man. And they got some money. They're training people, right? So my question for you
they treated me well.
There we go. That's what I want to hear. So here's my question to that with the Swift question now.
Sure.
If you could redo it, would you have gone on Shaffer's website and went to one of their approved schools and went straight on to Creek Carrier, or would you have gone with Swift first? What would you have done if you could do a repeat?
I still would have went to a company. Now, whether it was Swift or not, I wish I had done more research. Swift was just the first one to call me back to tell me they'd put me through school. But I would still go through a company-sponsored school just because there's not too many people coming from a background of retail and customer service like I was that have $4,000 or $6,000 in the bank to go to school and not get reimbursed for it. Plus the food and making sure your bills are paid and everything through school. Gotcha.
No, I hear you. So no, do your research, people. You know what I'm saying? But looking at this, and again, I always have to freaking put it out there. Let me put my screen big. Look, mother truckers, I am not a damn recruiter. Okay. No disrespect to anybody out there. I do this so that you guys can figure a way how to get the money. And I try to stay consistent on this show so that people that jump on the show feel comfortable that I'm not here to scam anybody. All right. And so do your due diligence. But if Crete is somewhere that you were thinking about going already and you need some information, well, we're here and this is what we're doing. So with that said, let's look into this real quick. The other check was 1,200 and you took advances and it went down to about 600, correct? And so when we look at this now, let's look at these numbers right here. Let me do the screen big for the money so that people can see it. Let me take off this stuff real quick. Give me a second. If you guys are ever at the 595 truck stop, I am here at my studio, and you guys come by and say hi. But let's jump here real quick and look at this. So, you had 1,200 before, and then you took some advances, almost half. Now this check's looking a little bit better. Looking around $1,600, correct?
Yep.
Now, is this more of an average check that someone would make if they have that 3 years experience and making about 54 cents a mile?
For right now, honestly, it really depends on what part of the country you're in. Like right now, this week's check might be a little bit lower than that because I've been slowed down by snow a couple of times this week. But 2,600 miles is what that's showing, that pay stub. And I would say especially in the summertime, like when there's really no slowdowns needed, I usually will average about 2,500 to 3,000.
Really?
And if I don't, that number above the detention will go way up. I think there was 1 week I got like 26 hours of detention.
Okay. That's what's up. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, so basically the way that I look at refrigerated is, especially if you go to places like AmeriCold or US Cold Storage or sometimes Tyson, that kind of stuff, a lot of times you get paid to sleep.
Really? So what is that? Like a layover?
Well, no, basically what it is, um, if I know that I'm going to be there for hours and hours,
Right.
um, I'll go ahead and put myself in sleeper berth once I'm in the dock door, and I'll go to bed. So that way, if it's going to take them 10 hours, when they're done unloading me, I've got a fresh clock.
Hey,
and I'm rested.
Hey, that's what's up. No, that's a good strategy right there. And so, and for the people watching, just to know full transparency, that these are all opinions of our own. I always hate that I have to do that. You know what I mean, Aaron? But it's like, these are just our own opinions, man. We're out here just to help you guys. Of course. Now the $1,600 check for people that are just jumping on here now or on the replay, is this per week here? Or is this every 2 weeks? What am I looking at?
No, that's weekly.
So
that's weekly. Now that might fluctuate just a little bit because if you see there's another line there with surge pay. I know that for that check it was $38. But what they're doing right now, and this is kind of a indefinite, but definitely will be definite.
Okay.
They just don't know when. Starting middle of November, I think, if you look through like the different pay stubs, you'll kind of see when it started, as kind of like a bonus. And I don't remember exactly what the message said, something like good work through the year. Our customers are paying us a little bit more. So we're giving everybody a 2 cent per mile surge as long as it lasts.
Okay. So they're trying to do a little bit something for y'all. And this is straight W-2 here. Is this correct? You're not a lease operator. You're a straight company driver, correct?
No. Company driver, yes.
So, I mean, when you're looking at it, you're making, just say, if this is close to a typical check, you're netting about $1,000. So, you're netting about depending on how you run, 4,000 to 5,000 in your pocket a month.
I'd say probably somewhere between 35 and 4 because some weeks will be bad and I don't make as much on detention as I do running, but
got you.
But I'd say somewhere between 35 and 4 take home a month. If you learn to manage your clock. It took me 6 months of driving reefer before I knew how to manage my clock to most efficiently run a reefer. Because I mean, I'm sure anybody who's watching who runs reefer knows that you could deliver at 7 p.m., pick up at 9 a.m., and then deliver that load at 2 a.m. So it's all about managing your clock to best get through and maximize your hours and thus maximizing your income. Because if you don't have hours, you're not driving. But it took me probably 6 months to learn how to do that. But yeah, I usually take home near $1,000.
No, that's
and that includes after my advances and stuff. It'd probably be 12 or 1,300.
Okay.
If I just let everything hit the bank.
No, I hear you. So yeah, you're being straight up honest. It's like, so what are your thoughts about that? And I'm not here to pocket watch what you make. I'm just so appreciative, Aaron, that you're letting people know exactly what's going to be, and so, what are your thoughts for people that are getting into trucking with 3 to 5 years experience? Do you think that they would feel let down, that the truth is they'd be making about 3,500 to 400 or like 3,500 to 4,500 net a month? And that's with experience. Do you think that
really depends?
Okay.
And that depends on each individual's person's needs and wants. The way that I look at it, my wife works as well. And sorry, honey, if you're watching, I love you. But I make more than she does, and she has a master's degree and all but dissertation on her doctorate degree.
Wow. And and nothing wrong with you, wife. We love you.
That's right.
But we love you and you will always be the boss. But it's so true about,
of course,
we go to work and we're making more money than people that have straight up education. It's so crazy. You know what I mean? And I went to college as well and I got a degree as well. And you know what that set me up for? A job making $16.50 an hour at Walgreens. Okay.
Yeah.
And so tell me if you agree with this, and you don't have to agree with me, Aaron, but I feel like, okay, when we start out our life, making a minimum wage is what you make as a kid, right? Your first job, whatever that was. Mine was like Baskin Robbins, right? But working your first job and breaking that minimum wage to like $12 an hour to like $15 an hour, it was hard.
Yeah.
And going from 15 to 20 is ridiculously hard. And 15 to 20 is 35 to 40 grand, right? And so you think about it and you're like, going from 20 to 25, that's like a game changer for a lot of people. And a lot of people have disrespect for it. They go, man, $50,000 is nothing. But you think about it, going from $15 an hour to $25 to 20 to 25 is not easy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so,
and the way that I look at it is, if I average myself at 60 miles an hour,
right.
Yeah, to allow for slowdowns or whatever, at 54 cents a mile, I'm making, going 60 miles. So that 54 cents a mile is $32.40 an hour I'm making.
Right. No, I get it, man. So I think people need to get off their high horse. Like, people don't understand, like, in most of the world or the United States, if you could put in your pocket $4,000 net in your pocket and you live in Denver's probably expensive, but you live in like parts of Texas, parts of South Dakota, parts of Louisiana, you're living great.
Well, I live in Western Pennsylvania. I live far enough outside of Pittsburgh that it's rural, but close enough that it's only an hour's drive to the city. And rent prices out there are $600 a month for a 2-bedroom apartment. And all you have to pay is electric and cable.
I'm telling you.
I mean, $4,000 a month, or even $3,000 a month is pocket change, or that $600 is pocket change. Throw in the fact that my wife works too, and I mean, the way that I looked at it is, I really can't complain because I think my most recent pay stub says year to date is like 28,000. And that's from, I think my first paycheck was July, the first Thursday in July. So, the last week of June was my first. So, and then you think about the fact that I've had at least 6 weeks off in that time. I'm looking at gross probably closer to 38,000 for 6 weeks, and that's kind of being conservative. It might even be 40,000 if I was working every one of those weeks. So, and for half the year, I really can't complain about making 80,000 a year gross trucking, or 70,000 even.
Hey, it's not bad, man. People really need it. 80,000 living somewhere in Texas, living somewhere in Florida. Central Florida is cheap as shit, man. You could get a beach house, in somewhere. Dude, I'm a mover for people that don't know, but I moved some people and I'm like, wait a minute. How much is this beach house? Yeah. And they're like, I paid $65,000. I go, 65,000? Oh, your HOA must be crazy high. And this was like in Vero Beach, right? And they were like, our HOA is like $90 a month. And I go, are you serious? In California, that'd be like a $2 million property. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, my mom's house, where my mom lives, she sits on an acre. She's got a 3-level, 6-bedroom house. Pretty darn good size. And that house over there is like $90,000.
Dude, I'm telling you, like, you actually can make gross in a year what your house costs. I'm from Cali. We're just retarded, man. I can say we're retarded because we'll take 99% of our paycheck to pay for a mortgage. You know what I mean? And it doesn't make sense. Yep. And I'll tell you this, and you tell me if you agree with me or not. There is a Walmart, there's a movie theater, and there's sure as hell a Applebee's and a McDonald's in every damn town and city. Now, if you
Nope.
if you're
Nope,
asking,
I'll actually disagree with that. Every city, yes, but the only thing that every town has, and anybody who's driven a 2-lane road knows this, you can't go through a town of more than 20 people without finding a Subway and a Family Dollar.
hey, if you see a Family Dollar, you can afford to live there. No disrespect to anybody out
That's
there,
right.
but if you if you can straight up, if you see a Family Dollar on every street and corner, you as a truck driver can afford that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And so, that's really what it comes down to be like. You really just got to know in your heart that, look, what are you getting into this for? Right?
Yeah.
Are you getting in this for a reason to get rich? Or are you getting in this for the reason to provide for your family? And I say it so much, and people are probably sick of me saying this, but I got into trucking because I didn't really have a skill, like straight up. Like I had no skill. My butt went to college, thought I was going to be something great, worked retail. I washed cars. I worked at Burger King. I'm great with customer service. You know what great with customer service pays you? A retail job, making a minimum wage. That's what that pays you. And I got into trucking, and it freaking changed my life, man. Like it made me, it gave me purpose. I am so appreciative in all directions of trucking. I mean, I would not even have this platform. I wouldn't even thought of doing it. Right. And so you look at it and you go, ego has a lot to play. What are your thoughts about that, Aaron? Like, a lot of us have this ego that keeps us from doing things that can really change our lives sometimes.
Well, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to make a change if what you're doing is not working. And in my opinion, and I've said this from the very beginning, there's a lot of different egos in trucking, even within trucking. But the way that I look at it is we're all on equal footing. There's nobody out here that's better than another. Cattle haulers are always, we're the greatest out here. But you guys do a great job getting, say, the chickens to Tyson. It's on my mind because that's where I just picked up this afternoon. You guys do a great job getting the chickens to Tyson. But that does absolutely nothing if we don't have the reefer to take it to Walmart.
Agreed.
That toilet paper that toilet paper doesn't get to Walmart by itself. And that's the dry side. The flatbed side, that Walmart wouldn't exist if a flatbedder didn't bring the materials. You wouldn't have your car if a car hauler didn't bring it. We're all the same out here. We're all out here to do a job, and that is to basically be the secret Santa for everybody, the behind the scenes, even more so than the back room at Walmart. The stalkers at Walmart.
No, I love it. No, and there's a lot of truth in that, and so, jump into, I guess, in less than 5 minutes, the requirements. Sure. And I'm going to jump in your channel so people can see who you are and have just kind of like a video playing. Okay. But the Wandering Nomad people, this is his channel here. Let me see. But I just want you to let people know, if they're straight up on the couch thinking about getting their CDL, they might be an Uber driver, they might be a bus driver, they're something driver, and these checks are looking interesting to them. Can you give us kind of a breakdown from me watching this video on the couch to getting on with Shaffer, and what things they need to do to jump on, right? And talk about even the money and all that good stuff all in one, so that I could just get in one so that I could put it on upload. You know what I mean?
Sure. So basically what you'd want to do, and this is, of course, assuming you have experience. I don't know what the process is for brand new drivers. Unfortunately, that's not something that I have really any knowledge on. But, say you just left your other job or lost a job or whatever. make sure you call Crete. They are big on safety, so they won't even hire you if you have a recent speeding ticket of more than 10 over, I think, or an at-fault accident, or DOT preventable, I think is how they phrased it. And those have to be cleared for more than a year. But really, they're, aside from just being real big on safety, call them. And if you get the right recruiters, which thankfully I did, come prepared. Come with a list of questions. And what I did was I sat down with my wife and I created. I want to say there was like 20 or so different questions. And I actually have a video on my channel called Everything You Want to Know About Crete and Shaffer, where I'm literally using the back of a paper plate that I wrote down every question I could possibly think of, and I didn't leave anything out. Like, do they have ice machines at the terminals? Like, I even went that, that things. Think of things that you don't expect and use your personal experience. Like, I had an issue with the company when my mother-in-law was in her last days. They wouldn't find a way to get me home, so that became a question. Not that I wanted or expected to happen, but if something were to happen, say, I don't know, my wife's in a wreck and is on life support or something, and I have to go home now. And they basically told me, okay, drop the truck. We'll get you a plane ticket or a bus ticket or whatever you need to do to get home. We'll make sure that you get home. Because, family's most important. And they understand that. But yeah, don't be afraid to ask questions. There is no question too dumb. And if you get a good recruiter, if they don't know the answer, they'll ask. They will ask and get back to you. And don't be afraid to say no. If the company is not the right company for you, then don't just jump on because they're the ones that called you back. Because if that's the case, then you're not going to give your all for a company that you really don't want to be at, and then you become the wrong fit for the company. So, make sure you know what you're getting into as far as reefer, which is something I wanted to try and something I found that I fell in love with. There are no hours in reefer. If you want to work sun up to sundown, don't come reefer, because we will have pickups and deliveries at 1 o'clock in the morning or 10 o'clock at night or whatever. Just make sure you know what you're getting into, and that's really, I can't express that enough.
No, that's great. And then talk to people a little bit, just what they will probably expect working for Shaffer money wise, from your experience.
I would say starting out, if you're running Shaffer, which is the refrigerated side, it's going to be a difficult first few months, depending on how quickly you learn. But I'd say your first year, it's on you if you can't make more than 60,000 gross your first year, which is just over $1,000 gross a week. That's more of there's something going on with the driver, because they will run you if you give them your PTA, which is your projected time available. They expect you to be ready to run a load. So when I picked up this load, I said, due to the roads, this will be there probably 4 o'clock Thursday morning. Probably tomorrow, I'll have a pre-plan for something to pick up probably between 4 and 6 on Thursday morning. So they expect you to be able to run. And it's not uncommon to get more than 3,000 miles in a week. I wish I could have found the pay stub for you, but in 1 week, the best week I've had here, I ran 3,800 miles, and that was without a carryover. Carryover basically being something that started the week prior, but that was just real lucky. I got dry, clear weather. It was summertime. The entire way, drop and hook on both sides all the time with wide open windows, so I could just get there as quick as I could, get another trailer, go to my next load. So that, I mean, it's not always going to work out like that. Just because that was my best one, that's the only time I've gone over 3,300 in the entire time I've been working here. So between the 2 times I was here, it's been about a year now. But yeah, you can get 3,000 miles. If you learn to work with your dispatcher learns how you run, you'll probably never hear from your dispatcher except, hey, what's your PTA? I want to find you a load. And mine, now my dispatcher, I don't have his permission to shout him out, but if you get the dispatcher I have, he will call you on Friday, and he will try to set you up for the entire weekend, so you don't even have to deal with weekend dispatch. So he wants to make sure that his drivers are well taken care of. I have no problems with him at all. But I have one of the other things to watch out for. I have heard people say that there are bad dispatchers here.
Okay. No, thank you for that.
That there. I don't know their names. I don't know who they are, but I have heard that there are bad dispatchers. So
what's the sign of a bad dispatcher there? Because you know how Shaffer runs. What would be a red flag that would be a bad dispatcher in general? Because you understand the culture there.
If you can't get a hold of them. Now, my dispatcher, he will put somebody on hold for 3 seconds and say, Shaffer, this is blank, hold please, and then he'll come back. So that way, he knows he's answering the calls and taking care of his drivers. But yeah, if you can't get a hold of your dispatcher, or they say something like, "Oh, we want you to use the PeopleNet only," it's very rare that I get that. Usually when I do, it's because there's some kind of system error going on, or the phones are down or something. So, and another sign of a bad dispatcher would be, you having to constantly go, "Hey, I'm sitting here waiting for a load." Like I said, between the 2 times I've been here, it's totaled about a year, and I think I have had to sit and wait for a load twice. Nice. In that entire time. Usually I'm set up with a pre-plan, and both of those times that I had to wait for a load, I had to deadhead more than 200 miles, which tells me that they were really trying to find something in the area and couldn't. So they weren't, all right, let's get them moving, give them, deadhead them from Atlanta to Nashville.
No, I get it. No, that's dope, man. That's dope. So no, I appreciate you for that. So for everybody that is watching and listening to this, I'll also have this on my podcast link as well, because there's a lot of drivers that shouldn't be watching YouTube while driving, even though I know they're doing it. So I don't want to be the cause of that. So I'll have this on a download so people can watch this on Spotify and all that good stuff. But with that said, I do have your channel up here so people can know. Now, is there an email, or is there a good way if anybody that wants to get more information about Shaffer? Again, Aaron does work there. He's not a recruiter. He's just a truck driver trying to help you guys out so that you guys could figure out what you need to do. But if Shaffer does sound interesting to you, you can see my man Aaron is very transparent. He's a friend of mine, and so I vouch for him that he will not steer you in the wrong direction, at least not on purpose. And so with that said, do you want people to message you, email you? What would be best if they are really interested and want to talk about things personally?
Actually, I rarely ever check my email, but
okay.
I'm actually okay giving my phone number out if people want to call, because usually that's the best way to to reach me if you have questions, because if you send it in an email, it might be 2 or 3 days before I even think about looking at it. Or at the very worst, when I stop for the day, and who knows if I'm even going to look at it then. But
Okay.
yeah, if you guys have any questions,
I'm going to keep this number up. And so if you guys, some people, you know, they're a little bit more private. They do not want to just, you know, ask their personal question out there in public. And I understand how people are sometimes. But with that said, let's open up the floor for about 5 minutes. If you're okay with that, Aaron, maybe some Q&A if anyone has any questions at all.
Sure.
And then we'll end this live show / podcast / I don't know what I'm doing these days, Aaron. I'm just trying. We're just doing our thing, you know?
So while we're waiting for questions to come in, big shout out first off to Asian Mai.
Come on, bro.
I think the first time we talked, you were at like 20,000 subscribers. So let's push it. I mean, you're less than 500 away from 60,000. Come on, people. What are you doing? Hit that button.
No,
60,000. I mean, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. And I'm looking forward to you growing more.
Thank you so much, brother.
I know I was one of the first ones on the Exposed, and I know I was among the first. I don't know who was first, but when you first started doing those hats, I was one of the first ones to buy one.
Hey, I know, I remember that, man, and you know, I thank you so much for the support. You know, I feel like some people saw something, you know, in me before I did myself. So I really thank you for your friendship, brother. You know what I mean? And so, you know, I appreciate you for that shout out.
We are the music makers, and we are the dreamers of dreams.